Today we are back at Bogies West, where I will be shadowing a fellow engineer to see his processes and hopefully pick up some stuff that I can add to my toolkit. Now, see, this is what I'm not excited about. It's not even 4 o'clock and the sun is already going down. Seems like yesterday I was complaining about the heat, and now I'm complaining that the sun is going away. It also helps that the band that he is mixing for tonight, I have mixed for at Bushwhackers, and I actually enjoy listening to them. And you might recognize this guy's back. This is Blaine, and he does a lot of the setup for their IEM system. I'm asking him about this bass cab setup on top of the mixer. I'd think it'd fall off, but he says he doesn't run it hot enough, and it stays there just fine. Look, he uses the flip-top totes like I used to use. They're so much nicer looking and easier to use than the regular storage totes from like Walmart or Target or something. The stage is very cool, but it is very narrow, so we're kind of discussing the layout of how he's going to put stuff up tonight. This is his in-ear rack. Pretty common to use an X32 as the brains for the unit, and then you just need some sort of way of splitting the signal. They're going to run this into the house mixer, which is an X32 console. And then the rest of the system is a few KS181s underneath the stage, and then some power amps, which will be running some JBL PRX 400s that are in the ceiling. Whoever designed this system made the odd choice to put these out about 10 or 11 feet away from the stage. And over time, I think they've shifted. You can see the one over there on the left is definitely higher. And then you can see one facing down, like the third one down. It's kind of facing the floor, which make mixing for this room challenging to say the least. But that's also why Matt likes to bring his own sound system when he comes here, because it's a great room, it's a great venue, but that sound system can be a bear. As you can see, the venue has plenty of dancing space, which these days is in short supply, to be honest. The rest of the band is slowly trickling in, so I might as well make myself useful and help them unload. Pretty funny, they added these little trees with the new car smell on it, but the band's actually called Used Cars. I wonder what a used car smell would be. Like a combination of Taco Bell and energy drinks. Whoa, hey now, that's not safe. Looks like it is missing a bolt. So I'm gonna grab my trusty old flashlight, because odds are it just came unscrewed and fell down on the ground. Here we go. There's part of it. Look at that. They're making fun of me because I want to fix the stairs, but I can't have people tripping going up these stairs. And besides, I'm not really doing anything anyway. I only have these pliers, but it'll get it plenty tight. And just like that, I got an extra punch on my man card. This is Cody, and he's the engineer that I'm going to be shadowing tonight. I did work with him when I was in my band. He did sound for us at another venue. I really liked the way that he ran sound for us at that event, so I figured he was the perfect guy to reach out to shadow. And it helps that I actually like this band. Alright, let's make sure it all works. Let's check out their gear now. Like most 80s music, you're gonna need a keyboard player, and the keyboard player is using this pedal board because not only are they playing keys, but they'll be playing acoustic guitar and the saxophone. I'm not sure what this mic was, but I'm probably gonna need to pick one up at some point. And he'll be using the good old SM58. The guitar player will be using this Headrush to run all of his sounds and his effects. And he will be using this Epiphone Les Paul. And he'll be using this keytar. I love it when bands use interesting instruments instead of the standard guitar-bass combo. His setup's a little different. He's running the Headrush pedal into the Headrush speaker, and he's also using 2 monitors in front to run the rest of the house mix, and I think he actually has his guitar in there a little bit too. The bass player is also using a Headrush pedal, and he's using this direct box to send a signal to his amp and to the front of house. And he's also using an SM58. The drummer has a nice Tama kit, and his miking situation is a different one. He has a mic permanently installed inside of the kick drum, which isn't all that unusual. But he also has mics inside of each one of his toms. I have not seen that before. I'm really curious how that sounds. Then he has the standard 604 on the snare. His kick pedal is a DW5000, and he said his vocal mic was a Beta 56, I believe. And this is his battle station, and he's using a Roland SPD for some fun sounds. People are starting to work their way in, so let's get this show started. There it is. Time for me to pack up and head out. Tonight was really interesting. I'm glad that I reached out to Cody. The thing that I think he does really well, besides just tinkering with EQ all night, is his mastery of effects. I do use vocal effects, drum effects, and such in my mix, but the way he was using it was on a whole nother level, and I learned a lot just by watching him. So the next time you don't have a gig, or you're looking to learn a little bit more, reach out to a fellow engineer. You'd be surprised how often they actually are cool with you hanging out. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today for this video. I'd like to thank Cody once again for letting me shadow, and I'll see you at the next gig.